Hey gang, what's up? Just Ehren right here, Question Period Canada. We started this channel about Canadian federal politics a number of months ago. Didn't have a clue any side on the side of the people at the grocery store lineup. That was it. And then we started watching Question Period Canada live. We started there making other videos, learning all about this stuff. Now we have a network. People send me videos. I've got so much content that I want to make. Now I'm trying to make a sort of general intro to all these wacky videos that are happening in Canada. Like, my oh my guys, we've got to take a closer look. Let's take a peek at this one. They never slow down, these Canadian politics. They don't stop. This one's wild.
Member, and as the elected member for Sherwood Park, Fort Saskatchewan.
Not a point of
order. You don't have to like me personally, but you are dead wrong on the rules, and I invite the clerk to weigh in.
So I think this is about 5.5 hours now of a Conservatives filibuster. Let's sort of review what's going on here for Canadians at home. So I'm sure they're all watching. A couple of weeks ago, we tried to have an agenda subcommittee meeting to work out an agenda for the rest of May and June until the House rises for the summer. Obviously, we had a good debate in that meeting. I won't discuss anything in the meeting, but certainly the outcome of it was pretty apparent to the committee that we could not achieve consensus around that set of priorities, even though we had a fulsome discussion. Conservatives were the ones that would not support any form of programming motion where we agreed on a set of priorities. Even though I will say quite openly and honestly that we really tried to achieve consensus, we just found that the Conservatives, of course, as we see here today, were not really interested in working collaboratively. Of course, they said that they opposed our budget before it was even released. So really, do they really want to study the budget? I would argue that what we're seeing here today
point of order, Chair.
The exact opposite.
Point of order.
Point of order.
Great, thanks for giving me a break.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
You need a break already.
Is he sitting as a member right now? No, you have not. So
I can still raise a point of order, Chair, even if I'm not subbed in.
You are not. You have not been
I'm an
subbed.
associate member, and I have a point of order.
Have you been subbed in, MP Genuis?
Pardon me?
Have you been subbed in?
I don't know, but I have a point of order, and I'm associate member. I claim my rights as an associate member of this committee, Mr. Chair.
MP Turnbull, continue, please.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, am I an associate member? Could you check your records? Maybe the clerk can clarify. Well, thank you, Chair. My first point of order is that I would have had a right to raise a point of order regardless of whether or not I was a substitute in. My second point, though, is that to Mr. Turnbull's point, he is misleading the committee. Actually, our Conservative leader put forward 3 specific demands in relation to the budget. They were to axe the carbon tax, remove gatekeepers.
We're suspended. 1 second. Then you are not subbed into the committee. I'll return back to
sorry, point of order, Chair. I don't need to be subbed in. Maybe the clerk can clarify, but I don't need to be subbed in to raise a point of order.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So as I was saying, we
tried to achieve consensus with the Conservatives. Obviously, they weren't willing to work together.
Point of order, MP Chambers.
I'm just, are you making a ruling that Mr. Genuis does not have the ability to make a point of order? Is that a ruling you're making?
No. What I'm saying, MP Chambers, is that MP Turnbull has the floor. MP Genuis has not been subbed in as of yet.
So is that a ruling that you're making that he's? Can you confirm with the clerk if that's? Is that a question of privilege?
Okay. Suspended again. Order. So that you cannot just MP Genuis. So MP Turnbull, you've got the floor.
Point of order, Chair. I didn't just walk through the door. I was elected by the constituents of Sherwood Park, Fort Saskatchewan to represent them in this House of Commons. I was named an associate member of this committee, which means I have a right to raise points of order.
MP Turnbull, you've got the floor.
This is another example, Chair.
But I have a point of order. Are you going to let me speak, or are we just going to become a matter of privilege?
Okay, I do have a member on a point of order, MP Samari. MP Samari. Yeah.
Mr. Chair, as you know, as all MPs know, when there's cross-talking and people are talking at the same time, it makes work impossible for interpreters. So please, some decorum.
talk, you know, and I don't have to tell MP Genius. I've told him many times before about the crosstalk, and he continues to do it. But
It's a point of order, Chair.
So we are going back to MP Turnbull.
I have a point of order, Chair.
Point of order.
MP Helen is still in the room. There's been no substitute. So MP Turnbull.
It doesn't matter if I'm substituted.
Please
I have a
stop the
point of order.
crosstalk, MP Genius.
Then enforce the rules, Chair.
Okay, MP Turnbull.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you. Appreciate the ability to speak in committee. I feel like my privileges are being infringed upon by being interrupted so frequently by Mr. Genuis, but that's okay.
Chair, I'd like to raise a question of privilege. Mr. Halan is outside the room, so even according to your own bizarro interpretation of the rules, I should have the right to raise it.
MP Genius, first I'd ask for respect and decorum here at this committee.
Yeah,
and
that's the
stop
same
with
from
the
you, Chair.
crosstalk, please, because that's what you often do here at committee. I don't know if you do it at all committees.
I have a question of privilege to raise, Chair.
Committee. And
point of order.
So, yes, MP Helen has left. You are at the table. I've got a point of order from MP Angus.
Sorry, I have a question of privilege to raise. Are you going to recognize me, Chair?
I've got a point of order, yeah. Go ahead, MP Angus.
Thank you, Chair. We've seen this tactic from Mr. Genuis where he comes in and he's abusive. He's talking over other people. So I want to hear what the points are. I don't need to be bullied by Mr. Genuis. This is a common tactic. So I respect your role as chair, but I really do think if he's not willing to listen, then we need to talk about at least cutting off the mic so that the chair, because when the chair speaks, no one else is supposed to interrupt, and Mr. Genuis just talks over people, and he's here, I think, just to play that game, but it's very disrespectful, and it's also, as my Bloc Quebec colleague said, we've had multiple concerns about problems for our translators, the harassment that they have to endure hearing this as people are shouting over it. So out of respect for our translators as well, I'm just asking if you can keep the meeting focused, and you're doing a good job on it, but we need some respect for the process here.
Thank you, MP Angus. So, you know, my number one priority here is actually members may be thinking something else, but it's the health and safety of those that work here. And the health and safety of our interpreters, I read it into the record at every meeting. And I hope that, I'm sure Mr. Genius has been to many meetings, has heard me read it into the record, understands how some of, you know, the screaming, the crosstalk, the et cetera, is really hurting and affecting our interpreters, but affecting all members of the committee. So that's what I will stick to. Again, my priority and what is paramount is the health and safety of those that are here at the table, but those that work here and in this room to make our jobs possible. So on that, I'll go back to...
Chair, I have a question of privilege I'd like to raise.
MP Genius.
Thank you, Chair. I'm raising a question of privilege in relation to this is. I'll start by reading the relevant citations. This is from Chapter 20 of House and Commons Procedure and Practice regarding the status of members and the rights of members to speak at committee. It says standing joint committees also have associate members. Associate members may be named subcommittees and may act as substitutes for regular committee members who are unable to attend a committee meeting. When members serve on subcommittees or as substitutes for regular members, they enjoy all the rights of regular members. They are counted for purposes of a quorum. They may participate in debate. They may move motions and vote. And if required, they may submit a notice of motion. The use of associate members on subcommittees helps to reduce the workload of regular members. It continues, the standing orders provide that any member, whether affiliated with a political party or sitting as an independent, may take part in the public proceedings of any committee of which he or she is not a member unless the House or the committee in question orders otherwise. The standing orders specifically exclude a non-member from voting, moving motions, or being counted for purposes of quorum. Committees often adopt a routine motion that governs the process and time allocation for committee members to question witnesses, and it continues. But the important point is that the standing orders and procedure and practice very clearly establish that associate members of committees duly elected by their constituents have a right to come to participate in committees committees to participate in all aspects of those committees within certain constraints, namely that they cannot vote, move more motions, or be counted for the purposes of quorum. Now, I was raising a point of order not seeking to vote, move a motion, or be counted for the purposes of quorum, but in fact to raise a point of order. And what followed was a denial of my right to speak, followed by various outrageous slanders from other members, impugning my approach to committee and my motivations. The fact of the matter is, though, I will assert the vital importance of adherence to the rules of the committee. And the rules are not invented by the chair, with all due respect. The chair is responsible for enforcing the rules as enumerated in House of Commons procedure and practice and in the standing orders. The standing orders provide that I have a right to raise points of order and I have a right to speak. I was seeking to raise a point of order and crosstalk only emerged, Chair, when I was prevented from exercising my rights as a member of the committee. I do want to note, with respect to the health of interpreters, that this question of crosstalk and the impact on the health of interpreters was dealt with extensively at the Natural Resources Committee, where the Liberal chair there, George Chahal, initially claimed that health and safety of interpreters was threatened by crosstalk. He subsequently had to retract that and admit that he had been wrong. Of course, crosstalk makes it more difficult for interpreters to interpret. That's true. It's harder for them to translate when there are multiple people talking at once, but it is not a threat to their health and safety. Health and safety issues of interpreters are engaged in other cases, for instance, when there is a loop created with the sound device. But this is well known, Chair. So I would caution people like Mr. Angus from kind of making things up and saying that something's a problem for health and safety when it's not. But the issue I am principally raising in relation to the matter of privilege, Chair, is that I have a right to speak at committee. That is clearly established in the standing order. I was denied that right by you a few moments ago. This does engage my privileges very clearly. The most foundational privilege that members of Parliament have is the ability to speak in committees, and the denial of that privilege does constitute an issue touching on privilege. In that light, I'm prepared to move a motion of privilege that the chair be instructed to prepare a report outlining the material facts of this breach of privilege and present that report to the committee. So, Chair, I will speak on that matter now. I think just briefly, when a member is denied the right to speak, that is a gravely serious issue, that all of us are elected, whether we're regular members of a committee or not, however we come into the room, we have rights to speak and be heard on behalf of our constituents. The established rules and protocols around privileges of members, the ability of members to speak, these are not things that are deniable by an individual chair, by somebody, by a committee acting without the clear adoption of a motion, because of the long-standing principles around these issues. I know some of my other colleagues may want to come in on this issue of privilege, but Chair, just to say that speakers' rulings going back a very long time have established rules around the right of speakers, and the way to have a committee unfold in a productive, effective, respectful manner is to have rules adhered to, and I think a chair cannot and should not demand adherence to their will apart from their own willingness to adhere to those rules. So this is why this motion of privilege, asking for the preparation of a report to the House, will allow the committee to reestablish a footing of saying that yes, all members have a right to speak. All members are duly elected, whether they are made members, regular members of not, whether they are subbed in or not. And the key point is that the right to speak as a member in the House or the committee does not emanate from the leadership of one's party. Of course, we understand the systems that exist for maybe the establishment of lists that go to a speaker, or for the establishment of memberships of the committee. That the chair, that various lists are submitted from party whips that establish members of the committee. But the effect of that should not be to prevent members from exercising their privileges, because although party whips establish who the regular members of committees are, that those who are not assigned to be regular members of the committee but may have an interest in the subject matter of the committee nonetheless need to have their right to speak as part of the proceedings of the committee protected. In fact, the House has taken additional steps in some cases to allow the clause-by-clause stage on a bill, even to allow amendments to be moved by people that are not regular members or not members of recognized parties. People may leave their party caucus for various reasons, or they may be elected as independents. Their rights to speak in committee or in the House must still be protected. If we were ever to move away from that principle that sees rights of participation in committees stemming from the status of a person as a member of Parliament, and start to instead view that as emanating from their status as being chosen by party leadership, then that would reduce members to merely creations of their parties and their party leadership, as opposed to representatives of their constituents. We come in here not principally as representatives of parties or members of parties, but rather as people who have been selected by our constituents to represent their concerns. And although I'm a regular member of the Government Operations Committee, my constituents may and often do have concerns that relate to the subject matter of other committees. And so in the process of not merely exercising my rights as an individual member of Parliament, but wanting to represent my constituents, that brings me to then want to be able to voice the concerns, the ideas, the priorities of constituents by participating in the conversations that are happening in various other committees. And this is why not only is the principle established in the rules that members can participate in the discussions, deliberations that are happening in other committees, but it is an important principle that they be able to have that right to participate in the deliberations of other committees protected. If they did not, then it would undermine the core principle of representation about who we're actually here supposed to serve. And this is at the heart of the principle of privilege. What is privilege? What is the privilege of members protect? It's not about the assertion of the entitlement of a member to want to do something or not do something, but it is about the obligation of members to act on behalf of their constituents, and therefore having the ability to carry out their function as a representative of their constituents. So this is I think a clear-cut matter, Chair, and I'm hopeful that maybe if we do see the rapid adoption of this matter of privilege, that we will be able to quickly return to the main subject matter before us, and I'll leave my comments there. I think maybe Mr. Lawrence had a comment on the question of privilege as well.
Thank you. MP Genius first. Are you done?
Yeah.
Okay. So MP Genius, as I never know how to pronounce his name. So can you tell us how best to pronounce your name?
Well, generally in this business, it's worth lowering expectations, not raising them. So on that basis, you can go with Genuis or the traditional Maltese Genuis. So
Genuis, sure. Okay, so MP Genuis. First off, let me just reiterate to yourself and all members, and to those that are here and those watching, is the paramount priority for me as chair is the health and safety of everybody in this room. And yes, the crosstalk and the screaming and the banging that Ms. MP Genuis has demonstrated, not just here today, but many times at this committee, has affected our interpreters. Please, MP Genuis, we can go look through the video of MP Genuis screaming into the mic here and at this committee, crosstalk, etc. And to say MP Genuis and to say that those antics do not hurt our interpreters and do not cause injury and to their health and to their safety, I think is completely wrong. But if you believe MP Genuis,
you have to recognize me.
MP Lawrence on a point of order. Yeah.
I have a right to speak there, guys. I know you wouldn't like.
But I will give my ruling. Yeah. Okay.
Is he allowed to speak here? Or just not in the House?
I don't think it's necessary for you to invoke a personal attack, Mr. Chair, on Mr. Genuis. If you want to go through the facts, that's fine. That's your prerogative. But the personal attacks, I realize it's late, and
I'm sticking to this is not personal. This is not personal. I am sticking to the facts, okay? And I'm sticking to the point that MP Genuis said that it does not create a health and safety issue when he crosstalks or when he screams or when he does different things, different antics here at this committee. But I believe that be it MP Genuis or other members, it does affect.
Point of order,
Genuis,
Chair.
Please don't crosstalk on a point of order. And I will give you my ruling, but on a point of order, yes, MP Genuis.
Chair, you are misstating what I said. I'm not defending any of the practices that you allege falsely that I did. But Chair, I'm speaking and other members are engaging in crosstalk. So if it's either verboten or it isn't, your microphone was on, sir.
Okay.
But this was dealt with. My point was narrowly on the issue of the relevance of crosstalk to health and safety. Ms. DeBruzen and Ms. Zarowitz, I'm sorry, and Mr. Turnbull, I apologize. Ms. Zarowitz and Mr. Turnbull are engaging in crosstalk now.
Okay, MP Genuis. Okay,
but here's
let me allow
the
you
point.
to speak about your crosstalk.
I think you're just sort of making things up about me, Chair, and I understand that you have a reason to want to do that.
It's about crosstalk, and it's about.
I would just encourage you, because I'm doing a point of order now, and you're talking over me. So I'm perplexed by the idea that you're saying that if I'm speaking and you start talking at the same time, that I'm somehow responsible for that crosstalk. I would think that if I'm raising a point of order and you start speaking at the same time, that you have at least a greater share of responsibility for the outcome of crosstalk than I do when that's happening. But this issue was dealt with at the Natural Resources Committee, and I would encourage you to speak to Mr. Chahal, who I think had a little bit of egg on his face after some of the claims he made. Even if he didn't sort of acknowledge it, it's clearly in the record where he has to come back to the committee and clarify that while crosstalk makes it more difficult to interpret, it does not lead to negative health and safety outcomes. There are other things that do, but specifically the issue of crosstalk. Now, I still think crosstalk should be avoided, but I further don't understand how the fact that if I'm trying to speak, if I'm trying to raise a point of order, as I was, and you are repeatedly denying my right to speak, somehow you would like to believe that I'm in the wrong for asserting a principle of the privilege of members. And that's why I raised the question of privilege. Because look, the priority should be adherence to the rules. The rules protect all of us. They protect you as chair. They protect me as an individual member. They protect the regular members. All you have to do as chair to succeed in your role is enforce the rules that are established. That's all you have to do. Enforce the rules. Don't make up new rules. Enforce the rules that are established.
Okay,
and I know you're coming in at the same time, which is creating crosstalk, but I would just encourage you, enforce the rules as they're established. Now I'm done, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on how you're going to enforce the rules that are written. Not make up, Peter Fonseca's rules, but enforce the rules that are in House of Commons procedure and practice.
Point of order, MP Green.
I would like to request that on every point of order, you ask that the standing order actually be referenced, because none of that was a point of order. And you have to chair the meeting.
Thank you.
So please do that.
Thank you, MP Green and MP Genuis. Just before I go to my ruling, is what I will say is again around the health and safety, because I will not stop reiterating this for our interpreters. I have heard how it affects them and how many of them have been hurt, and we want to stop that from happening. So on that, I'll just say I disagree with what MP Genuis had to say here. on that. Now, on my ruling, and this is from, of course, House of Commons, Procedure and Practice, on page
Point of order?
1036, I'm giving my ruling. Substitutes for members who are officers of the committee, for example, its chair or vice chair, do not, however, assume the prerogatives or responsibilities related to these positions. At meetings, the very principle of substitution means that it may occur only when the substituted member is absent from the meeting. So, and as we know, and we all saw, MP Halan was still here in the room as MP Genuis came through. I don't even know if he was sitting at the table, and then started going on at the mic about whatever he was going on about. So that is my ruling, members. Again, MP Genuis, if you want to look at the House of Commons, if you want to, if that's my ruling.
Chair, point of order.
Yeah, do you want to challenge my ruling? Or
Chair, you didn't rule on a question of privilege. I think you ruled on a question of order. You didn't rule on a question of privilege. Maybe to provide further clarity ahead of your ruling on the question of privilege, I at no point asserted that I was substituting.
No, MP Genuis,
it's not debate. It's a question of privilege.
I have given my ruling.
Mr. Green, are you engaging in crosstalk here?
I have given my ruling, members. I've given my ruling.
And I'm.
That is it. We are going.
Just on a point of order, Chair. You didn't reference the question of privilege at all.
I have given my ruling, MP Genuis.
Point of order, Chair.
Point of order.
You didn't reference the question of privilege at all.
Yeah.
And Mr. Green is engaging in crosstalk. I don't know if you have anything to say to him about that or not, but well, he's still talking though. So
MP Genuis, I've given my ruling. We're going back to.
I won't argue with that, Mr. Green, but
point of order.
That's not maybe germane to the topic.
Before your ruling. Before the ruling, I asked to speak on the point of privilege, which I'm guessing that were we in discussion of that now, or was that that's your ruling on order?
I have given my ruling. On
the privilege issue?
I have given my ruling on MP Genuis coming to the table and looking to speak with as a substitute and not having MP Halan out of the room, which I asked for.
Point of order, Chair. I was not seeking to speak as a substitute. I was seeking to speak as an associate member and as the elected member for Sherwood Park, Fort Saskatchewan.
Not a point of order.
You don't have to like me personally, but you are dead wrong on the rules, and I invite the clerk to weigh in. The clerk should be invited to weigh in on this. It is an important principle of Parliament.
We'll suspend. With the clerks, I can say that MP Genuis, it is not a question of privilege for a member. So there was first, I did not recognize you as a member. You had not been substituted. There was not consent from members to hear you speak. You just barged through the doors as. You know, if we had 338 members that just wanted to run through the door and start doing what you did, it would be mayhem in here. It would be chaos. It would not be. We would not have decorum. So to hold decorum, that is what took place. So once you've been substituted, then you are at the table. But there was not consent, I could say, from the members here to hear you, and you just kind of turned on your mic and started going, and that is not allowed.
Point of order, Chair.
Point of order.
Chair, I didn't just turn on my mic and start speaking. I said point of order, and the way you raise a matter of order is you say point of order.
On that.
And then you're recognized.
MP Genuis,
and then you continue.
I just said that you did not have consent and you were not substituted.
Just point of order. I don't need consent of other members to raise a point of order. That's a dramatically new concept to say that you need the consent of other members of committee to raise a point of order.
Consent. You would have to be at the committee. You would have to be recognized by the chair or have implied consent. You did not have it, and you just started speaking.
Could the clerk speak? Because I think your interpretation of the rules is not accurate.
Anyway, I've given my ruling to the member and to the members. So on that, we are going to now go back
point of
to
order, Chair.
MP Turnbull, please.
Point of order.
Point of order.
Is your ruling that associate members cannot raise points of order?
MP Genuis, you were not at the table. There was no consent to have you speak. You came in and barged into this room here on committee.
Chair, what does it mean to say I barged in? I opened the door and I walked through it and I sat at the table. I'm an elected member of Parliament and I'm an associate member of this committee.
We are going to go back.
I don't need your permission to do my job as an MP.
MP Genuis.
And part of my job is to be able to sit on committees. So
you could sit on committee. You right now you are subbed in the committee. You are sitting.
But even if I'm not subbed in,
committee.
Even if I'm not subbed in,
no, you must be. If you are not subbed in, like I said, you cannot have 338 or 100 senators run through the door here and start grabbing the mic and start. You do need to be recognized by the chair. And you do need consent from the committee. So I'm going to go back to MP Turnbull.
Point of order, Mr. Chair.
Is he subbed in? Okay.
Point of order, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Chair. I appreciate having the floor back after that display
I had a point of order, actually.
Point of order for MP Lawrence.
Thank you. I had a point of order. It got cut off and lost in the discussion there. But I did, before your ruling, ask to speak prior to the period, and then you just gave the ruling.
Ruling, yes.
Yes, but before then, I asked to speak on it, and you acknowledged
ruling?
Me. Yeah, I said on the point of privilege, I would like to speak. I don't know whether you heard me. That's fair game, but I definitely said it, and you acknowledged it.
No, my ruling was on the ability for MP Genuis to be able to speak and to be at the table.
So, will you be ruling on the point of privilege?
I ruled that MP Genuis came through the door and was not substituted in at the time.
So that was your ruling on point of privilege.
And as far as that, at committee, it is the chair to recognize somebody at the table if they so desire, and to have implicit some consent from the members, and that was not there. The consent was not there from the members to have MP Genuis speak. So, MP Lawrence.
So my objection, I guess, if you will, or point of order, was the fact that I requested specifically to speak on that ruling prior to the ruling, and you didn't give me that opportunity to speak.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't hear that. But and just so MP Pearson, you have been substituted, and MP Genuis has left the room. So yeah.
Yeah. So just I'm concerned not so much with the formalities of it, but I did ask to get recognized. You acknowledged me, and I didn't get recognized. And a simple admission of that, and perhaps an apology would be warranted.
MP Lawrence, I've given my ruling, and like I said, I was speaking on to MP Genuis and to the points that he brought up. I've read the ruling on the substitution, so that everybody is well aware. I'm glad that MP Pearson now has been substituted the way that should be done. Because I did see that MP Pearson was trying to speak at the table and was not recognized by the chair and did not have consent, I believe, from the members to be able to do so. But now that he is at the table and substituted in, he would be able to do that. MP Lawrence.
Okay, Mr. Chair, and I brought this up now 3 times, and you haven't addressed it in one of my 3 times. So I'm gonna go again. Okay, so
I'll just say, MP Lawrence, I have addressed it. I feel that I have addressed it. You may not feel that way. I feel that it has been addressed.
I'm going to continue a point of order here. So I just want to have the opportunity to go through the confluence of events. Mr. Genuis raised a point of privilege. I put up my hand and said I would like to speak to that point of privilege, which under the rules, that's not a choice of yours. You have to do that. And you recognized me, clearly gave me some type of gestures. I assumed that meant that you were going to allow me to speak prior to you making your ruling. And so a simple just acknowledgement of that would be great.
So I will have to go through the video and see what was said. And on that, MP Lawrence, what was happening was a lot of crosstalk, a lot of back and forth, mostly from MP Genuis, that was didn't matter who was speaking, he would jump in, which was very disrespectful, I believe, and did not help with the decorum here at this committee. So I will look into where you may have wanted to come in. You have the opportunity now, as you have been have had the opportunity to speak. I hear what you're saying. I did give my ruling, and I hope and also again I don't know how you feel or how other members feel. I say I feel very strongly about the health and safety of people here in this room, and those that are doing a tremendous job to keep up with the interpretation, and it's unacceptable, and I won't allow for members like MP Genuis to be able to come in here and start screaming and the antics that only hurt people and the health and safety of those that work here on the Hill.
Point of order, and I don't want to. I honestly don't want to belabor this, but I do believe it's important. One of the things that will help me from not cross-talking is that a belief that you will acknowledge my point of order, or that you will acknowledge my and I expressed a desire to speak on Mr. Genuis's point of privilege, and you ignored that, went right to your ruling, which then encourages me to crosstalk, not because I want to hurt anyone. I certainly don't. Our interpreters do a great work, but I do have 100,000 people in Northumberland, Peterborough South, who are counting on me to raise that voice.
Thank you.
Point of order, Chair.
Thank you, MP Lawrence. Point of order, MP Turnbull.
My understanding is that, if the Conservatives want to challenge your ruling, then they can do that. But otherwise, I think we need to move on with the debate. I had the floor. I was interrupted for I don't know how long now, but quite a number. I also represent 142,000 people that I want to speak on behalf of, and I was interrupted over and over and over and over again. So I'd like to finish my remarks, Chair, and so I'm hoping that I can have the floor back.
Yeah. MP Verson now is MP Genuis still, is that possible? Okay, MP Verson.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. I still don't think that we have clarity on a ruling of privilege, because the challenge that we have is that while I appreciate that you read from Chapter 20 of the House of Commons Common Practices and Procedures, I'm reading from the 2017 edition, but if you had continued reading, the next paragraph says that the standing orders provides that any member, whether affiliated with a political party or sitting as an independent, may take part in the proceedings of a committee that he or she is not a member of, unless the House or the committee in question orders otherwise. And so that there was no special order governing the proceedings of this particular meeting. So any member can appear, can sit down at the table and participate in the debate. Now, if it's a time debate and we are moving through the order, members of Parliament say, "I will share my time with a particular member." But points of order are able to be made by any member of Parliament that comes and sits at this table. They don't need to be subbed in order for that. And that is where the privilege issue has come up, is that you failed to recognize Mr. Genuis as a member of Parliament allowed to sit here. That I hope that we're making the point that you can't just decide who gets recognized at committee based on their party affiliation or not. So I hope that you can maybe clarify that and make sure that you understand the rules on this and rule appropriately on this privilege motion. Thank you.
Thank you, MP Verson. I thought I was clear, and that is that when a non-sitting member of the committee, or someone that has not been substituted in, so someone that walks through the door, a member of Parliament or a senator, to sit at the table and to have the opportunity to be able to speak to the committee and to participate, would need consent from the members and would also require consent from the chair. So that was not given, and so when we had MP Genuis just walk through the door, excuse me, and sit down at the table and then turn on his mic and interrupt members that had the floor and were speaking and were debating what we are debating at this time. So that is what happened, and that is how I have ruled.
I'm not sure.
MP Pearson?
I'm not quite sure how to proceed from here because I don't, when I read the rules, I don't read any of that in the rules. The rules are that members of parliament may participate at committee. They may not vote, and they may not be counted in quorum, and they may not move motions. But every member of parliament has the opportunity to participate at committee. There's no requirement for unanimous consent for you to participate in a public hearing. There's no like the ability to move a point of order is every member of parliament's ability, regardless by virtue of them being a member of parliament. It is it's our collective responsibility to make sure that this place works. It's our so any member of parliament may raise a point of order to ensure that committees are being run according to the rules, and that is what we are attempting to do here today.
Thank you, MP Pearson. And it is that they may participate, but you do need consent from the members. It's not unanimous consent. It's just that the members consent that someone is at the table. We've had many members that have participated here at the committee that are not standing members of this committee or have not been substituted, that have come to the table. But the members around the room, including the chair, would look and recognize and have the member there at the seat. What it does not allow for is for someone to just come barging through the door, sit at the table, and start turning on their mic and saying whatever they want to say. That it does not allow for that. That is my interpretation. And as you know, we would not have the decorum. So what happened here, and I'll tell you, MP Pearson, and I want to just go back to MP Lawrence, because of all of that kind of crosstalk and back and forth with MP Genuis, etc., I may have missed something where MP Lawrence was coming in, but that's what happened. So we cannot have, that type of chaotic, antics from members to be able to do that. It would be disruptive. It would not allow committees to do their work. This committee, I don't think any members from any party would want that here at this committee. We have a lot of work to do here. We with the important work. We have a budget implementation act. We're hearing debate. That is what we are working on, MP Pearson. Yes.
May I interact with that, Mr. Chair? The point being that a member of parliament does not have to be subbed in order to move a point of order at a committee. Or is that were you making the ruling that you have to be subbed in order to move a point of order? Is that your ruling?
MP Pearson, it's about recognizing a member that is not a member or a senator that is not sitting at the table, has not been subbed in to the committee, and has not been recognized when we have actually a member that is in the middle of debate, of speaking here at committee, and to be able to come in and just interrupt and at the table. No, they do need some implied consent from the members, and I did not see that for MP Genuis when he came in, and that is what took place. Once he was substituted in, sure, then the member was recognized and he was able to speak. But that prior to that was not the case.
I still dispute all of that in the fact that the rules clearly state that associate members, of which every member of parliament is an associate member of every committee, they may not vote, move motions, or be counted for purposes of quorum. But beyond that, they are able to participate. They don't need to be subbed in order to move a point of order. That is the point. And I don't know what page it is because I have it in, but it's in chapter 20. It's like the 6th paragraph down. And I would encourage you to read that again so that you understand that I don't have to be subbed in order to be recognized at the committee. That is the point that we're trying to make here, and that is your
point. I don't know if you're going to challenge. Are you challenging my ruling?
I'm not sure how that would. Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll go back to, thank you, MP Pearson. We'll go back to MP Turnbull, please. PS Turnbull.
Thanks, Chair. Thanks, Chair. Really great to get back to what I was saying, which I was just talking about the good faith attempt we made to work with the Conservatives to come up with an agenda for this committee that moved us through May and June in an orderly fashion to accomplish all the things that we had on our agenda, including some of the studies that were before the committee that hadn't been complete, that included obviously first order priority, which was the Budget Implementation Act. And the Conservatives withheld support for that. And fine, I mean, their prerogative to do so. But, for them to come to committee and suggest that I somehow table dropped a motion, the motion that I brought to committee was exactly what we had discussed in our previous meeting. So it wasn't a big surprise. Everybody knew what the priorities were that we had identified. And I think the Conservatives knew very quickly that they were in the minority in terms of the membership of this committee. And that's why we're in a filibuster today. So the Conservatives put forward an amendment and then a sub-amendment. And the sub-amendment is what we're debating now. It is exactly what the Conservatives are avoiding a vote on. So really what we're doing here is listening to a 5.5, or I guess it's now going on 6.5 hours just today, of a filibuster from the Conservatives. And I'm just pointing out what is so for anybody that's paying attention still, that has the patience to pay attention to these committee proceedings, and I hope that they are. But in reality, the Conservatives know that the vote isn't going to go their way on the sub-amendment. Therefore, they're holding this committee hostage by continuing to talk ad infinitum and talking, what we heard from MP Chambers earlier was reading a transcript from a podcast for over an hour of Mark Carney on the Hurley Burley show. So we had, him read that into the record, which is, certainly not the most creative filibuster I've ever heard by far. But anyway, I guess some Conservatives lack imagination. But that's okay. I mean, in reality here, all we want to do is get down to business.
So, gang, that's another wild one right there. I'm not going to try to tell you what to think about what you just saw. You're a Canadian, you can make up your own mind, but I do want you to come back and watch some more of the wild videos that we collect. We've got this network happening now, and also, if you're interested in a live chat in a fun stream, we watch the question periods daily, all of them. It's a great community. It's a fun chat. Come check us out. Like, subscribe, get notified, all that fun stuff. Comment. I love the comments. And especially just come back. I just want you to come back. Not going to try to sell you anything. Here we go. We're just learning about Canadian federal politics right here at Question Period Canada. We have 1 million questions, almost no answers. But we'll be showing you the videos, so like, subscribe, get notified, share, all those fun things. Check out one of the other videos. We've got a good thing going on here, liking and learning, and sharing with you. That's what we're doing right here. Question Period Canada. Catch you next video. It'll be wacky.